Hi guys, so I'm back at my spot, doing my walk around the cemetery. It's the best way. It's for me. It's the best place to go for a walk and exercise. I hate walking on the sidewalks and the streets, all the cars, the noise, the traffic. You come in here, it's big, it's beautiful, it's quiet. You hear the birds, you see the trees, and you can really kind of meditate while you're walking. It's really nice. So I'm back for another discussion. Oh no, oh no. So I'm back for another discussion. First of all, Lynn's been very sick these past 2 days. I don't know what she ate, but it has like an intestinal tract infection. I don't know, something like that. She hasn't been able to get out of bed. Her stomach, it's not diarrhea type of thing. It's something, I don't know, like a swollen intestine or something like that. I don't know. Anyways, hopefully she'll be okay. A little bit worried about her because she don't like to go to the doctors, and I think this is the situation where she needs to see a doctor, a gastro doctor. Yeah, but that's Lynn. You know, she don't like to. You know, the good thing about my wife is that she doesn't like to spend money if she doesn't have to. You know. I remember when her and I were first dating, I wanted to buy her a nice bag or some nice expensive sunglasses. She didn't want it. She didn't want to waste the money. Even when we go clothes shopping, she won't go in the expensive stores. That's what I love about Lynn, you know. She does spend money in other areas, you know. Every time she goes to the mountains, it's like, 5,000 pesos every trip because she has to feed the whole barangay up there. But I guess it's a Filipino thing. It's something I have to live with. But in other areas, she's good. She needs to get her license. She needs to learn how to drive. I told her, she can't be here in the U.S. without a license. She has to be able to drive. Not like the Philippines where everyone's driving without licenses. They has been sick. Well, not really sick, with runny nose, sneezing, a little bit of a cough at night when she first falls asleep. I think it's the weather. It's been dark, cloudy, rainy, it's cold for like almost like a week here. It's like typhoon season, I don't know, in the Philippines, non-stop raining over there. Oh, I just heard a turkey. Wow. Wild turkeys. Hear that? Can you hear that? That's pretty cool. Anyways, Lynn did a video about Paula's house. I'm not sure if she still wants to sell it or not, but I mean, if anyone's interested, get a hold of Lynn. Last I heard, she was asking 3.5 million pesos. It's a nice house. It's not too big, but it's all built well. Right near the town, Taliban. Not a bad little property. So I was getting some questions. I was getting some comments privately about building a house in the Philippines. I won't mention any names. And they're kind of looking to me for advice. As a foreigner, I don't think I would build a house unless I was married. Some people kind of jump into it too quickly, and they have a girlfriend and they'll start building a house or whatever. And I really think you got to be married. My advice would be at least be married first. You can't own property, physical land as a foreigner, but you do have some rights as a husband, as a spouse. I think that you don't have any rights at all. I can only speak from my experience, which is just the one time. And when we were buying the land, we bought the lot, obviously, first. We built the house. But when we bought the land, on our property. When we bought the lot in Anda, it's owned by a Filipina and her foreigner spouse. And when we were doing the transfer of deed, the transfer of title, we couldn't do the transfer without an affidavit from the foreign husband giving permission for his wife to sell the property. So something to think about. You know, of course, there are very unscrupulous people. You could probably find an attorney to fake a document or whatever. I mean, if you're really that, if you're really that much of a criminal, but I find most lawyers wouldn't do that. They'll lose their license to notarize an affidavit like that. But just to give you an idea, you do have some rights, some protection, not a lot, but you have to, I mean, people say, well, I would never buy property there because you don't own it. Well, do you really own the property that you buy in the U.S.? Try not paying your property tax. See what happens. I mean, it's kind of like you might have a title and a deed, but you don't pay your property tax for like maybe 6 months, a year, or a little more than a year, and that's it. You're not going to have that property much longer. So, I don't know. Yeah, the other thing is, it's very hard to sell property in the Philippines. It seems, so what I've learned, what I've seen over the past 5 years of my experience in the Philippines, it's much easier to sell a lot of land than it is an actual home. Not to say that houses don't sell, they do. I've seen them sell. I remember when I was looking, of course this is 5 years ago, and the market was hot. The Philippine economy was on fire. Oh, there's that turkey. I see him now. He's a big one. Little male, little Tom looking for his females for the spring. Anyways, what was I saying? I completely lost my train of thought. Oh, so my experience, and this is just me, my own opinion, take it with a grain of salt, but from what I've seen and looked at and experienced, it's much easier to sell a lot of land than it is an actual house. And there's also a misconception that it's very cheap to build a house in the Philippines, and that's kind of a trick question, because it can be if you build a proper house, to some type of standard that you might have in the U.S. Now, it's never going to be that close or even close to standards in the USA, but you can build a strong house. You can build a good house, which costs money. I have 3 buildings that withstood the typhoon with no damage. But I spent a lot of money building that house, I spent a lot. People look at you funny when you're making a video. But, I spent a lot of money building those three houses on our property. The roofs were very expensive. Material I used was, I think, the thickest that you could actually buy. Very expensive. I mean, the workers couldn't even pull it up onto the roof. It was so heavy. Or you can build a very cheap house for like 20 grand and watch the roof fly away when you get a storm. So, so that's one of the misconceptions, that it's cheap to build a house in the Philippines. So, people, if you were to list your home, I remember when we did the video on that really beautiful property on our street that's for sale in the Philippines. I think the owner is asking $25 million, And you got some good comments. And you got just as many good comments as you did bad comments, saying that they could build the same house for like 10 million, like 10 million pesos. And I got news for you: the lot alone is worth almost that, especially in Anda. And there's no way you'd build a house like that for 10 million pesos. Maybe 15. Maybe 15 to 18, but 10 million? No, it's not going to happen. Look at that turkey, is so beautiful. Not like the turkeys we have in our house. I mean, not like a wild turkey. I mean, it's really an amazing looking bird. It's so funny. So I'm sure this is another video that I'll get shit for, because everyone has varying opinions on this subject matter. You know, whether it's good to buy or rent, everyone has their own agenda. I don't think there's any right or wrong answer there. You see, our friend Mike and Corey built a beautiful home on the ocean. Why wouldn't you want to have something like that? If you're gonna live in the Philippines, if you're gonna do it, you're gonna do it right. Do it right. You know, if you're gonna live there, do it right. You want to come to the Philippines and fart around for a couple of years? Yeah, rent an apartment. But I mean, if you want to make it your home, I don't know. For me, it's like you got to buy, build, and make it your own. And that's another reason why I think it's much easier to sell land in the Philippines than it is a house, because most people, when they come to the Philippines, whether it's a foreigner couple or an OFW couple, people who have money, you need money to build. You know, most of those people, they want to build their own house. They want to build their own dream house. They don't want to buy someone else's dream. They want to build their own dream, you know? And that's what kind of the Philippines is all about. Of course, every now and then there comes a property where people will say, wow, I love that property. It's what I would have built, and they're going to buy it. So unless you're building something which is already in someone else's brain, that they picture that how their dream house to look like, then yeah, they're not going to buy your property. So if like, for an example, say I'd never bought my property, I didn't build my house, but I'm looking right now. I'm looking for, let's just say hypothetically, I'm looking for a house. Lynn and I are married, we got kids, and we're looking for a house. I mean, we're looking for something to buy in the Philippines, whether it be a house or a lot, but we're looking. And let's say I come across Mike and Cora's house. It's for sale. And the minute I see that house, I'm going to want to buy it, because it's something that I would build for myself. I would design and build myself. It's beautiful. So I'd buy that house in a heartbeat. And I don't say that too often. But to come across a property like Mike and Cora's is very hard, very difficult to find in the Philippines. They're all outdated. Anything that's for sale is not new. It's completely outdated. I mean, the junk, the stuff that I saw in Anda, it's awful. 15 million pesos, and they got to be completely rebuilt or torn down. So yeah, if you build a house, buy land and build a house, you kind of have to have the mindset that you're not getting that money back. I mean, I'm not to say that you can't or you won't, but you have to go into the project already knowing in your mind that there's probably a better than 60% chance that I probably won't get my money back. So for me, my property, if I were to sell it, if I were to sell it today, I'd want at least 25 million pesos. I don't know if it's worth that. I don't know if I could get that. I have no idea. But that's what I would want. In my mind, and my idea, and my long-term, my long-range goals are never sell that property, to buy and more and more, you know. I don't want to sell my real estate. I want to own my real estate. I want to keep buying, keep going. That's just me. That's what I want. I got a beautiful property. I don't know. I mean, if I were to do things a little bit differently, I don't think I would buy so much high-end things inside the kitchen, because they're just getting destroyed. Especially the stove. Spend a lot of money on that. I think I would just buy nice things, but not really high-end stuff, you know. Yeah, I don't know. I'd want to do a different type of ceiling. I'd like Mike and Cora's ceiling, something along that lines. If I was to build another house, I know where I made my mistakes, so I know that not to make those same mistakes again. But yeah, I mean, if you have the budget, you have the cash, you plan on staying in the Philippines, you know, for at least 6 months out of the year, I would definitely recommend buy a house, buy land, build a house there. The taxes are almost null. Water bill, $5 a month. Taxes maybe $300 a year. I mean, you can't go wrong. It's a beautiful place. You have to be able to stand the humidity. It's not so much the heat. I mean, it's a lot hotter in South Carolina, but the humidity there is nonstop. You pray for rain. You pray for like clouds. Every day I'm praying, it's gonna be cloudy today, please God, let it be cloudy. So yeah, so that's just a couple of talking points for today's video. I don't know, hope you enjoyed it. See you guys soon, hopefully in the Philippines.